How do you get back on track after bariatric regain? Getting sucked into the downward spiral of regain is hard and it's freaking terrifying. It can feel like you're in a free-for-all and can't quite hit the brakes. Listen, you can and you will get back on track with these 5 lessons from a champion that we're going to explore together in this episode. 5 lessons that will empower you to become a champion of right-size living. So what do you say? Are you ready to get back on track? If so, go ahead and smash that like button and say, I'm ready. One of my favorite places to observe champions is at the Olympics. And the Olympic great that's top of mind for me is Mikaela Shiffrin. She ranks among the top women skiers of all time. And she's a 2-time Olympic gold champion. Well, she was back at it this year and went into the 2022 Olympics favored to win gold again. But even world-class champions sometimes hit bumps in the road, or bumps in the slope in this case, that throw them off track. Shiffrin crashed in her first 2 events, finished 9th in her 3rd, and failed to finish her 4th race. Falling down hurt. And I'm not just talking about the physical pain, although I'm sure there was plenty of that too. I'm talking about the emotional pain. Can you relate to that pain? You know, the same kind of pain and confidence shattering disappointment you sometimes experience when you hit bumps in the road? When you have that moment, that day, or that week where your right-sized lifestyle feels like it's fallen apart? It sucks, right? Well, if you're struggling with regain, don't despair. You're not a failure. This stuff just gets messy sometimes. Right now, we're going to dive into 5 fundamental lessons on how to get back on track from watching how Shiffrin has managed the ups and downs of her career like a champion. And these are all things that you can easily implement right now. Oh, and be sure to stick around to the end because lesson number 5 is the most important of all and you won't want to miss it. Lesson number 1, feel the burn. What I mean by this is to take a moment to experience your emotions. Do you take time to experience disappointments or crushing defeats? They feel icky, right? So instead of facing those feelings, you might feel the urge to sweep them under the rug or to soothe the hurt with comfort food. Instead, feel the burn. Experience the emotion of the letdown. After Mikaela's losses, she talked about feeling the burn. She said, the Olympics were just 3 weeks of my life. And there's never been a period of time in 3 weeks of my life where I haven't felt some sort of disappointment, regret, hope, optimism, pessimism, triumphs, failures, and that's life. Do you relate to that? Can you think of a short period of time on your journey to right-size living where your emotions haven't run the gamut? Up, down, sideways, nosedive, skyrocket, spiral out of control, back up again, steady, up, down. Shoot, there are even times when you experience all these emotions in a single day. Your emotions let you know you're human. Your emotions are gonna be a mix of good, bad, tragic, joyous, and everything in between. It's the yin and yang of emotions. Experiencing both the suck and the successes actually bring you balance because without one, you wouldn't appreciate the other. You feel what you feel, so take a moment, acknowledge it, feel it, because when you experience that emotion, you prepare yourself for the next step, which is lesson number 2. Rise up. Okay, so you feel down after getting off track. I get it. The temptation will be to skewer yourself over your mistake. The temptation will be to stay down and wallow in the disappointment. But after you've taken a brief moment to experience your emotions and process them, it's time to get up. After her disappointing performance, Shiffrin's spokesperson at the Olympics announced that Mikaela would not be doing media for the foreseeable future. I mean, could you imagine how awful it would be to have cameras and microphones shoved in your face after you fell off track? Tell the world, how does it feel that you ate the whole box of cookies? Why do you think you failed? But you know what? Despite falling down, despite the vitriol on social media calling Shiffrin a disgrace, a choker, a dumb blonde, comments telling her to give it up and retire, and not to mention all the horrible comments that are not fit for your ears, she ignored all that. And she also apparently ignored her spokesperson who said she was taking a hiatus from the media. And Mikaela just kept getting right back in front of the media after every one of her Olympic disappointments and taking questions. What was really interesting was that Not only was she openly processing her emotions on camera, I believe it was part of how she chose to rise up, to pick herself back up by being strong and facing the world in a time where she'd probably rather be alone. Here's what she said. Get up. Get up because you can. Just get up. It's not always easy, but it's not the end of the world to fail twice, to fail 5 times. So like Michaela, in those moments where you fall off track, whether it's eating the whole box of cookies, ditching your movement routine, ignoring self-care, or all of the above, take a moment to feel the burn and then get up off that hot tushy of yours and remember why you got surgery in the first place and get back on track, because you are a champion. And it's enduring the bumping roads and picking yourself up time and again that make you a champion. Are you ready to rise up? Say it with me or type it in the comments below the video. I'm ready to rise up. Next is lesson number 3. Focus on the process. Now that you've picked yourself up, it's time to focus. But this time, instead of focusing on your goal, instead of focusing on the destination, focus on how you are blossoming with each step you take as you work towards getting there. Champions of Right-Size Living view winning as a byproduct. That's because the greatest rewards are found in the journey to the destination. Rather than thinking, okay, life's going to be so wonderful when I lose all the weight. Instead, think like a champion and focus on the mechanics, on the tactics, on making little changes one at a time that make you stronger, better, healthier, happier, more confident. Schifrin once said, anybody who had the chance to break records and have their name written in history books, nobody's going to say, no, I don't really want that. That's going to be incredible if it happens, she said. But that's not something that has defined my career. To this day, the thing that I enjoy the most, more than racing or anything else, is just going out and skiing really well and making improvements. As a champion of right-sized living, yes, you are going to love the wins. Like when the new outfit fits, when you can do activities that your weight previously prevented you from enjoying, or even when you lose some weight. But champions focus on the joy in the journey. Ask yourself, what did I do right today? What did I learn about myself today? Lesson number 4. Manage your emotions. Champions have mastered the art of managing their emotions. You know, sometimes it's easy to get negative on your journey to right size. Like, have you ever been doing all the right things, but then you step on the scale to discover you've gained weight? Been there. It can sometimes make you feel like giving up, right? Or maybe somebody says something mean about your weight that hurts your feelings. Or maybe you have a low energy day and just feel totally unmotivated to move your body. Well, athletes train even on days they don't feel like it. They keep going when they aren't performing at their peak. They keep going despite criticism from others. They learn how to silence doubts and fears. How do they do that? By managing their emotions. Yes, feel them, experience them, process them like we talked about, but then manage them. Here's the really cool thing. Many of the tactics that athletes use to manage their emotions will work for you too. Like listening to music to influence your state of mind. Learning to change that conversation in your head to one that's positive, motivational. Visualization exercises to reduce stress. Facing your fears and momentary missteps by reaching out for support. Studying the champions around you to observe what they're doing right. Developing self-awareness through journaling or using apps and trackers, and learning to focus on your breathing to get through the tough moments. Tactics like these are hallmarks of right-sized living champions. Share with me in the comments. Could you do just one of these to influence your emotions each day? Like maybe have a motivational music playlist or write in your journal. If so, say or comment, I have the power to influence my emotions. Michaela Schifrin said that working on managing her emotions is basically like doing squats for the brain. Squats for the brain, I love that. And then the most important thing of all is lesson number 5. Don't tie your self-worth to winning. Here's what Michaela Schifrin said about whether a gold medal is part of her journey or not as she entered the 2022 Olympics. It's incredible if it is, but you can't let that be tied to your self-worth because it's not. Her message is so important to remember in your journey to right size. Seriously, how many times have you tied your self-worth to a number on the scale or a size label in your clothes? You're going to have wins and losses, good days and bad. If you tie your worth to your wins, losses, good days, and bad days, it's going to be a hot mess. Your self-worth should be consistent, not up, down, and all around based on your performance. Listen carefully, because what I'm about to share with you is super important. You are not your weight. You are not your weight. Your self-worth comes from your commitment, from the way you support your bariatric buddies. Self-worth comes from your resiliency to get right back on track after you fall down. It comes from all the right choices you make in a day. It comes from what's in your heart and from the joy of learning from your mistakes and imperfections. Your self-worth comes from all the little moments in a day that make you so wonderfully you. Hey, I'll be the first to admit that getting back on track and staying on track isn't always easy. But you are a champion, and as a champion, if you have fallen off track, follow these 5 steps. Feel the burn, but just for a moment, and then rise up. You focus on the process, not the goal. You manage your emotions, and you never tie your self-worth to winning. So if you've fallen off track, don't fear. You've got this. Winston Churchill said, "Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It's the courage to continue that counts." Until next time, my friend, live with purpose, live with courage, and live with delight.